Hello, YouTube world, and welcome to another episode of the Travel with T-Bone Show. This episode, we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to read a Reddit post that I think I can provide a pretty good answer to, but a also very long answer. So we're going to put it into a video format, and hopefully we can help this guy out. The Reddit post says, "Hi guys, I need some advice here. I used to work for English First EF in Beijing last year. I left on not great terms after 8 months and never got a release letter from them as I had to leave abruptly. I have a new job now lined up in Shanghai, but the school needs the release letter or original work permit or a letter on why there is no work permit anymore and that I no longer work there. I only need one of those three. While my old management wants me to get this stuff, he's not sure if I will. In fact, he says he doubts it. This is a death sentence on me ever getting another work permit in China. What can I do if they refuse to give me anything? Anyone run into this situation before? Any advice or help would be amazing." And this is where I'm going to try to be amazing. First off, this is not the end of the world in terms of teaching English in China. If you've been here for a period of time, you know what I'm talking about. So it can seem scary because some places want a Z visa and the work permit and something like that, while other people's, while not legal, other schools will put you on a tourist visa and then you exit and enter China every few months. Obviously, I recommend doing the Z visa every single time just because it makes your life a lot easier, and just, you know, it's the right legal thing to do here in China. So let's get into this a little more. If you want to get that letter of release, you have to do things the Chinese way and not the Western way. Now, I met some people from Sri Lanka who did some teaching here. They were from Sri Lanka, they moved to Australia, and then they did 8 weeks of teaching here in China. And they had a very interesting thought on China, and they said that China is a gray economy, meaning everything is kind of in a legal gray area. So what they did in Sri Lanka to get things by was they would give some money to, say, a worker, a contractor to get work done, to build something. And I definitely know from firsthand experience that China is in this same sort of boat. So now I was working for a college, and now I'm working for another new college in Guangzhou. So the old school pressured me and gave me only a few weeks to make a decision on a new contract. I felt pressured and I didn't want to fly back home that I did last year and redo the entire visa paperwork stuff because the laws are always changing. So I signed the contract after looking for 2 weeks for jobs, or 3 weeks, which is pretty much all they gave. They only gave me 2, but I was able to get 3 weeks. Couldn't find another job in time. And then I signed the contract reluctantly because I wanted more money so I could pay for graduate school. So I got a job response after I signed the contract by like a week or so. So I decided to go with the new school because it paid a lot more money, and it seems like the best for me to be able to pay for graduate school while doing it. So I needed a letter of release so I could work for the new school and not the old one. Now, how I broke it to my old school was I was very polite. Number one, always be polite. Relationships is pretty much the only thing that really has currency, especially as a foreigner here in China. If you burn your bridges and piss on the ashes, getting that letter of release is going to be so much harder. So I had to sit down with them. I was very polite, but I was also very firm. Be polite and firm at the same time. It is very difficult to do because sometimes your school or whoever you're negotiating with might do tactics that you think are cheap. They might be like a punch in the gut. They might be something that just really makes you angry, but you have to keep your cool the entire time. You might have to say you're wrong. Second, what I also did is I told the truth, but I told them the truth that they wanted to hear, not the truth they didn't want to hear. Now, the old school, was promising big raises, which was one of the reasons why I was hanging on to actually stay there. But the raises that they offered weren't big enough for me, and it was hyped up to be a lot more than what it actually was. Now, I could have said, hey, you guys lied and you promised big raises, but this isn't a big raise, because it's a very relative thing, and that's a truth that they don't want to hear. What I did to tell the truth about was, hey, I need to leave this job because I do like this school, and I do like this school, and I liked working there, and I like my friends here. But I also need the money to pay for graduate school, which is why I'm leaving. And that was my number one priority on why I have to leave. And I only focused on that. Now, let's go back to our Sri Lankans for the final part. After you have this meeting and you discuss your values and why you're doing this, why you're doing that, for this guy on Reddit, I would say something like, I want to try Shanghai. It seems like an exciting new city and a different change of life from Beijing, which is probably true and probably fair. The company saves face and you win. On top of that, you might have to do what the Sri Lankan people were saying, where it goes back to that gray economy. Now, on my school contract, there's like a clause. There's a clause for like releasing a teacher. And you might be able to bargain with that clause on them providing you a letter of release. If it's not there, then I think it's open game again. Maybe if I were you, I would say, oh, I didn't know there was a termination fee. Whether the termination fee does exist or not is irrelevant. You kind of have to trust and make your judgment and think, can this guy help me? And do I need to give a little something extra to make sure that he helps me to get the job done? It's very, very stressful. I've gone down this road because you might be giving a bit of money that you're not comfortable to give away to somebody you don't really know very well. But you also have to trust that they will get the paperwork that you need and give you like a letter of release. Because for my school, I think they wanted some sort of compensation for me signing and then leaving abruptly. So that way they can use that money maybe to find a new teacher or something else. But not everyone is the same. You kind of have to use your judgment on the situation and go from there. Anyway, that's pretty much the best advice I can give in this situation. I hope that you will take this into account. And if you like this video, give it a like. If you found other ways, watchers of this video, of how you got your letter of release, leave them in the comments below, and hopefully it helps. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks, and bye.